Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Bob DeMaria with another episode of Ask Dr. Bob. A couple questions I've never been asked before. So, what do you think about, and the term is called nootropics, depending on how you like to pronounce it, for the brain and for focus. And the individual wants to know, would it affect people with high blood pressure, low thyroid, or other issues? Anything else that you can suggest for natural brain focus and retention? That's really a common issue today because, I wrote Dr. Bob's Drugless Guide to Mental Health, and I go into great detail about memory. But for those of you who want to have just like a real interesting answer for brain health, I'm going to refer you to the Thyroid Test. In the Thyroid Test, we have something called TSH, T3, and T4. As a rule of thumb, this is just my opinion and my observation, if your T4, which is inactive thyroid hormone, is normal, and your TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone from your brain, is low, I know that that person probably has a tired brain because they're not producing enough TSH. You might want to go back and study that, but it's just one of the ways that I'm able to evaluate brain health. I also know for memory and for optimal brain function, you need vitamin B12, you need a good source of oil. I might have you consider the Omega test. It's a test that we make available to our clients and our patients, both in Naples, Florida, here in Westlake, Ohio, to check the oil for your brain. It was a good question. Dr. Bob, this is another very interesting question. Is a lectin-free diet a healthy lifestyle choice? What do you have to say about lectins in our foods, and are they harmful to us as some believe? What's so interesting about food, because everybody's body is impacted differently by food. Had a conversation with someone about that this morning. The XYZ diet might be good for one body type, but not necessarily for another. So you have to figure out what's going to be the best for you. But reference to the lectins, I'm going to read this to you specifically. They're a family of proteins found in almost all foods, but especially legumes and grains. If you have listened to me any length of time, I don't really promote legumes or grains. I eat very few grains, very little bread. I'm not saying I don't ever eat any bread, but it's very little. Some people claim that lectins can increase gut permeability and drive autoimmune disease. We like to look at a CBC, Charlie Bravo Charlie, with a differential. That's just the name of the CBC of the differential, at monocytes. And if monocytes are elevated, you could have a food sensitivity issue. While it's true that certain lectins are toxic and cause harm when they're consumed in excess, they're easy to get rid of through cooking. Now that was just a solid answer for you. When it comes to those types of foods, I minimize legumes. I just want you to be aware of that. Last question. Very good first two questions so far. Is there a simple test for anxiety? Well, in my book, Dr. Bob's Drugless Guide for Mental Health, I have a questionnaire called the B and the G sheet, or yin and yang. So what I have learned over time, that there are patterns that people with anxiety have, and there's patterns that people with depression have. I have noticed that most people that have anxiety also tend to have depression. So you may want to look into getting the book and read about the difference between B and G. Typically, people with anxiety need B vitamins, especially B1, but people with depression could need tyrosine, they could use a good oil, and a variety of minerals. Very good questions. I'm Dr. Bob DeMaria.